Hello and welcome to Undead Gaming News, your one-stop shop for all things gaming. I'm your host Zombie, and first up this week, Riot Games is shutting down a third-party Valorant app that gives players an early advantage in character selection. Unofficial companion apps for multiplayer games usually exist to provide enhanced and harmless stat tracking or live ranking insights. Recon Bolt, which is made by Swiss developer Julian Dunskus, attracted Riot's attention for its feature, the ability to lock in characters on your phone before the option is even available on the PC. Recon Bolt has been live since at least October 2022, but Julian announced to his Discord server that he'll be shutting down the app after receiving a cease and desist notice from Riot. He said, "It's hard to describe how disappointed I am that things have turned out this way, but Riot has shut down all attempts from my side to have a conversation about this and figure out a way forward together. Thank you so much for all your support throughout the app's existence. It's meant the world to me." Riot hasn't openly shared their reason for the demanded shutdown, but Julian said that the studio has been trying to shut down Recon Bolt for months. After asking Riot why he'd been locked out of Riot's developer portal in May, a representative cited Recon Bolt's use of an unsanctioned login tool, the character selection shortcut, and the inclusion of an item store checker, which is not in line with their policies. Riot might have also taken issue with Recon Bolt's premium tier, which is a one-time purchase of $5 that unlocks a few extra features. Last year, Riot took to Twitter to remind players that using unauthorized third-party apps that pull information hidden by the game client can get you banned. Allowing players to pre-select their character before everyone else certainly sounds like something Riot would consider an unauthorized use of its tools, although Julian claims that his app was originally authorized by Riot. He's also argued on Twitter that Recon Bolt is no less fair than Valorant's default method of doling out characters, where players who have faster PCs or are faster at clicking the necessary buttons or even set up a macro get dibs. Valorant's character selection isn't strictly fair, though I doubt most players would be happier to have to load up an app before every match just to even the odds. Streamers have also complained that Recon Bolt could be used by stream snipers to identify which character streamers are playing, although Julian says it's not possible as the app anonymizes everyone involved when you navigate to the profile of someone in streamer mode, so you can't see their name or the name of anyone they've played with. Julian is taking the news in stride though, and he was surprised by Recon Bolt's success and also blown away that he was able to live off the revenue it made for as long as he could. He's now looking for a new job as an iOS developer. In other news though, a company has just announced a haptic gaming suit that will be compatible with and themed around the upcoming Assassin's Creed Mirage. Haptics firm OWO's Mirage-themed tie-in has been created in partnership with Ubisoft, and while wearing one, players can experience multiple different sensations that reflect those of Assassin's Creed Mirage's protagonist Basim. OWO says that these sensations will include the likes of impacts and parkour, with the standard version of the haptic suit able to mimic 30 different sensations, including axe, insect bites, and severe abdominal wounds. On top of that, the Assassin's Creed Mirage version of the haptic suit promises to incorporate some exclusive sensations that have never been felt before. The haptic gaming system Assassin's Creed Mirage Edition includes a digital copy of Ubisoft's game for Xbox Series S and X, PS5 or PC. The main device, gel pads, a storage pouch, charging cables, and of course the haptic shirt, which features an exclusive finish inspired by Basim's outfit, and you should expect it to cost approximately $500 when it launches soon, which will probably be around the same time as Assassin's Creed Mirage's release on the 12th of October. You will also need to download an app to your phone to calibrate the suit as well. Sticking with Ubisoft though, they're also working on an Invincible video game, and it's going to be releasing soon. If you're unfamiliar with Invincible, the Skybound Entertainment comic series began all the way back in 2003 and ran until 2018, before it eventually got an animated TV adaptation for Prime Video in 2021. Both the comics and the TV series follow the story of Mark Grayson, the son of the world's most powerful superhero, Omni-Man, as he comes to terms with his newly developing superpowers. Fans have been begging for a video game adaptation for years now, and it's finally arriving in the form of Invincible Guarding the Globe. It's a free-to-play Idle Squad RPG that's coming to mobile devices. It will include a totally original storyline set within the Invincible universe. Players will need to recruit familiar faces such as Invincible himself and Atom Eve to fight against an army of evil clones. You can select a squad of 5 characters, comprised of attackers, defenders and supporters, and fight to complete daily and weekly tasks. Robert Kirkman, who is Skybound's chairman and chief creative officer and also the creator of Invincible, said, "It's been so exciting watching the Invincible universe evolve from comic book to TV series and now to a video game. Invincible being a multi-hero narrative, I love that we've made the game into a multiplayer RPG that you can fight numerous battles simultaneously. Ubisoft did an incredible job seamlessly recreating Invincible for the small screen. Invincible Guarding the Globe will release soon on iOS and Android, but it's not known exactly when that will be. Also in the news is a spiritual successor to PlayStation's classic rhythm action game, Patapon, which was unveiled at Bit Summit in Japan, known as Ratatan. It's being developed for an unspecified platform by Patapon creator Hiroyuki Kutani, with audio by original Patapon musician Kemi Adichie. The game will be crowdfunded via Kickstarter, with the campaign due to start on the 31st of July. Few details on Ratatan were revealed during its Bit Summit panel, but the game's developer said in a private meeting ahead of the reveal that the game would include roguelike elements and multiplayer for up to 4 players. Producer Kazuto Sakajiri said the 3 main game concepts are over 100 cute characters fighting it out on screen, 4-player simultaneous battles, and more adventure and roguelike elements than Patapon had. Hiroyuki Kutani, who designed the original Patapon games, said that he wanted to make a Patapon-like experience, but with new elements, stating, "Patapon was really a unique experience at the time of release, and reflected the development environment of that era. We wanted to make another game like that for the modern age. There's a possibility of maybe doing a Patapon sequel in the future, but for this we really wanted to make our own game, in our own style, with specific types of gameplay that reflect what we want. After that, if there's a chance to speak to Sony about a Patapon sequel, then we'll go from there. And I'm sure if Ratatan is successful, then Sony would be open to the idea of a Patapon sequel, but we'll see how it goes." In other news though, PlayStation and developer Insomniac Games have revealed a new limited edition Marvel Spider-Man 2 bundle, releasing this September, ahead of the game's October release. This bundle has a PS5 digital console, custom console covers, and a matching DualSense controller, and it was announced shortly after PlayStation released a new story trailer for Marvel Spider-Man 2. Pre-orders will open for this bundle, the custom covers and the DualSense, both of which you can purchase separately, later this month on July the 28th. All of it will be released on September the 1st. The PS5 bundle includes a voucher for a digital copy of the game for when it launches on October the 20th, and won't be redeemable until launch day, so you won't be able to preload the game. Anyone who pre-orders the bundle will also receive the same pre-order bonuses as those who pre-order the game separately will. These bonuses consist of an early unlock for the Arcanite suit for Peter with 3 colour variants, an early unlock for the Shadow Spider suit for Miles with 3 colour variants, an early unlock for the Web Grabber gadget, and 3 skill points. Also in the news though is Lightspeed Studios acquiring Destruction All-Stars developer Lucid Games. The UK-based developer revealed the news on Twitter, sharing that it would continue to enjoy full independence in the games that they create, and the operation of the studio, while having the support from Lightspeed Studios' global network and technology capabilities. Lightspeed Studios is primarily known for mobile titles like Undawn, Apex Legends Mobile and PUBG Mobile. They were originally known as Lightspeed and Quantum, and they're also a subsidiary of Tencent Games. Neither side has disclosed the amount that was linked to the acquisition. As for Lucid Games though, they're best known for, of course, PlayStation's exclusive Destruction All-Stars. However, Lucid Games recently did also do support work for Sea of Thieves, Apex Legends and Star Wars Jedi Survivor. The team is due to also support Tencent-owned Inflection Games in developing their upcoming title, Nightingale. Sticking with indie development though, our next story brings us to Nathan Seedhouse. He's the lead developer on a game known as Grey Skies, a War of the Worlds story, which is a third-person stealth action game that's been on the market for over 2 years now, and it's been heavily criticised in that time, and it currently sits at a 33% mostly negative score on Steam, on the back of 110 player reviews. However, Nathan Seedhouse had no idea about all of the criticism, because not long after launch, his personal life absorbed his complete focus. He recently added a post on the game's Steam page where he said, "After a couple of years of crippling personal issues that kept me away from development, I came back to find that Grey Skies has issues, and has been reviewed extremely poorly. I was unaware of just how bad it was until recently. I came back to it with fresh eyes after more than 2 years and completely understand the issues most people have taken with it. I still think that underneath these issues we made a decent game, so I'm remastering the game with new technologies that have become available, and my own improved knowledge of development. I will read through all the concerns carefully and address each one, paying close attention to the most common complaints such as clunky movement and frustrating stealth elements. I really appreciate each and every one of you that took a chance on it, so the remaster will be automatically added to any library that already owns the original Grey Skies, free of charge of course. The original Grey Skies will soon be removed from sale. I hope it will go some way to rectify the mistakes we made on this, and that some of you might be willing to give it another go. I'll give you an update on this as soon as possible, and when that update becomes available, I'll share it here too. I wish him best with the remaster, and I do hope that it's well received when it releases. However, in other news, just a little over a month after Fable 4 made its world debut, Playground Games is losing one of its key team members, with the departure of narrative lead Anna McGill. In addition to their work on Fable 4, Playground Games is also responsible for the wildly successful Forza Horizon series of racing games. Fable 4 narrative lead Anna McGill announced her departure from developer Playground Games after over 3 years with the company. She previously worked as both the lead writer on Ubisoft's Division 2 and the narrative lead for Remedy Entertainment's Control. She announced her departure from the UK-based studio on her personal Twitter account, stating that she had a busy year between work on Fable 4 and writing 2 books. She said that she would be taking some time off following her resignation. Despite moving on from the studio, she appeared to hold no ill will towards Playground Games, remarking in a tweet that working on Fable was a dream come true, and that it's wrenching to leave it all behind, whilst also assuring everyone that the project will still be in good hands. Even though fans of the franchise have already been waiting for the next entry for years at this point, Fable 4 seems to be off to a bumpy start. But despite some pushback from disgruntled gamers over the game having a female protagonist, and now the departure of Anna McGill, hopefully Playground Games will be able to deliver a worthy successor to the series whenever Fable 4 eventually releases. And when it does, it will be available on PC and Xbox Series S and X. Also in the news, Larry Hyrb has announced that he's leaving Microsoft and moving on to other things. He spent 20 years at Microsoft. Much of it was spent as the public face of Xbox consoles, better known to gamers around the world as Major Nelson. He tweeted saying, "After 20 incredible years, I have decided to take a step back and work on the next chapter of my career. As I take a moment to think about all we've done together, I want to thank the millions of gamers around the world who have included me as part of their lives. Also thanks to the Xbox team members for trusting me to have a direct dialogue with our customers. The future is bright for Xbox, and as a gamer I'm excited to see the evolution. I want you to all know that every moment I was able to interact with you, the community, here on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, Mixer, or at any of the events I attended around the world, I cherished every single moment, every handshake, every time I got stopped on the streets, around a convention, every discussion we had about games, and every photo we took together. The real magic in gaming is the community who makes, plays, enjoys, and celebrates video games together. Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, PC, mobile, I don't care where or how you play, we're all one community." Larry joined Microsoft in 2001 as the editor-in-chief of MSN Music, but moved on to the Xbox program as a senior project manager just a couple of years later. In that role, he launched the Major Nelson Radio podcast, which eventually became the official Xbox podcast. That made him a household name for Xbox owners. In 2012, he became a senior director of corporate communications, but maintained his Major Nelson moniker, his podcast, and work in the Xbox division. He said that he's going to spend more time with his family and enjoy the Seattle summer, but didn't reveal anything more than that about his future plans, except to say that he's working on a few projects. As for the official Xbox podcast, it will go on hiatus for over the summer, and then return in a new format. From the PC gaming perspective, Larry wasn't as high profile as Phil Spencer, who is of course Microsoft's Xbox boss, who typically takes the lead at E3-style gaming conferences, and on major public announcements. But he was an influential voice for a generation of Xbox gamers, particularly during the 360 era, and was widely admired and respected, even to the point that PlayStation paid a tribute to his departure themselves. Sticking with Microsoft though, they've officially now killed off their long-running Xbox Games with Gold offering, and lifted the lid on a replacement. Xbox Game Pass Core. Xbox Game Pass Core will make its debut on the 14th of September, and is described by Microsoft as the evolution of Xbox Live Gold. Game Pass Core includes online gaming and a selection of over 25 games to play with friends around the world that will grow over time. Microsoft said that Game Pass Core brings online play together with Game Pass in a new offering for gamers around the world. This new offering from Xbox replaces Games with Gold. They wanted to use this opportunity to reimagine how to include content with this subscription. They found that the answer to the most compelling catalogue was to leverage select titles from the Xbox Game Pass catalogue. Game Pass Core will launch with multiple titles from Xbox Studios included. More games will be released onto the service following its launch 2 to 3 times a year. Anyone who's already a member of the Xbox Live Gold will automatically become a Game Pass Core member on the 14th of September with no change in pricing. Meanwhile, games with Gold will close on the 1st of September. Users will be able to access any Xbox One games redeemed through the service, provided that they remain a Game Pass member. As for the Xbox 360 titles, Microsoft said that any games that were previously redeemed via Games with Gold will remain in the player's library, regardless of subscription status. The following games have currently been announced to be coming to Game Pass Core: Among Us, Descenders, Dishonored 2, Doom Eternal, Fable Anniversary, Fallout 4, Fallout 76, Forza Horizon 4, Gears 5, Grounded, Halo 5 Guardians, Halo Wars 2, Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice, Human Fall Flat, Inside, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Psychonauts 2, State of Decay 2, and The Elder Scrolls Online Tamriel Unlimited. But that's not the only change Xbox is making, as they've also brought out Antstream Arcade, which is bringing over 1,400 retro games to the platform as part of its cloud streaming service, including some PlayStation and Nintendo titles that will be playable on Xbox for the very first time. Launched on July the 21st, Antstream Arcade features early Atari releases through Commodore, Sega, Nintendo, and original PlayStation era games, and you'll be able to stream all of them to your Xbox console, complete with instant cloud game saves, online high scores, and resume play features across multiple devices. Xbox will be the first major console to support Antstream Arcade natively, and it's also the world's first third-party cloud gaming service to feature on Xbox. You can get Antstream Arcade from the Microsoft Store for either $30 annually or $80 for a lifetime subscription. In other news though, Microsoft and Sony have officially signed an agreement to keep Call of Duty games on PlayStation consoles for 10 years, following a successful acquisition of Activision Blizzard. With Xbox boss Phil Spencer tweeting, "We are pleased to announce that Microsoft and PlayStation have signed a binding agreement to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation following the acquisition of Activision Blizzard. We look forward to a future where players globally have more choice to play their favourite games." And Microsoft President Brad Smith adding, "From day one of this acquisition, we've been committed to addressing the concerns of regulators, platform and game developers, and consumers. Even after we cross the finish line for this deal's approval, we remain focused on ensuring that Call of Duty remains available on more platforms and for more consumers than ever before." Unlike the other agreements with Nintendo and cloud gaming services, Microsoft only mentions Call of Duty titles within their deal with PlayStation. Sony, of course, has been reluctant to sign an agreement with Microsoft, as they hoped that authorities would block the acquisition of Activision Blizzard altogether. But now that it's looking more and more likely to go through, they most likely saw no other option but to sign this deal. But that's not all when it comes to the news surrounding this deal, as the FTC filed an appeal to have the decision overturned from their recent loss in court, and also filed for a request to stop the deal until the Ninth Court of Appeals has made its decision. Judge Jacqueline Scott Corley, the same judge who denied the FTC's preliminary injunction request against the massive deal, denied that request. The Ninth Court of Appeals has since rejected the FTC's request as well. Microsoft and the FTC are currently set to meet in court on August the 2nd, but few experts expect the case to actually succeed, and it could also be dropped before then. But that's not all either, as there was also an update on the case that involved a group of gamers going to court in order to attempt to stop the deal going through. After their last defeat, they took their case to the Supreme Court, and have now been rejected there as well. Now, Microsoft's main obstacle is the block put in place by the UK's CMA. But now Microsoft has agreed to extend the deadline of the acquisition for another 3 months, while they try to appease the CMA. The new deadline is set for October the 18th, 2023. If the deal doesn't close by October the 18th, then Activision Blizzard will get a higher breakup fee of $4.5 billion, compared to the previous breakup fee of $3 billion. In addition, Activision Blizzard's board said that it would pay shareholders a one-time dividend of 99 cents a share, which is worth a total of $770 million. An Activision Blizzard spokesperson said that the recent decision in the US and approvals in 40 countries all validate the deal is good for competition, players, and the future of gaming. Given global regulatory approvals and the company's confidence that the CMA now recognises that there are remedies available to meet their concerns in the UK, the Activision Blizzard and Microsoft boards of directors have authorised the companies not to terminate the deal until after October the 18th. We are confident in our next steps and that the deal will quickly close. Based on the way that this is all going, I do imagine that within the next 3 months they will most likely close the deal and be successful, and find a way to appease the CMA. But either way it goes, I'll update you regardless. But stepping away from the merger, Although sticking with Activision Blizzard and the future of the Overwatch League, Activision Blizzard made major changes to its esports department in the second quarter of this fiscal year. In their latest earnings report, Activision Blizzard explained that an updated operating agreement will be offered to Overwatch League teams at the end of this current season. The statement says, "If the teams do not vote to continue under an updated operating agreement, a termination fee of $6 million will be payable to each participating team entity. Total fee of approximately $114 million. They've also laid off around 50 esports employees. Approximately $400 million in franchise fees from personal Overwatch and Call of Duty leagues is owed to Activision Blizzard as a result of the pandemic." Overwatch League Commissioner Sean Miller said that there will be a revitalized global scene for the Overwatch League in 2024, regardless of whether or not the teams stick by its side, saying, "We are doing all we can to make the player experience and the fan experience one that people will want to return to, want to be part of, and get excited about to turn on." An anonymous ex-employee who was affected by the recent layoffs said that this was a complete shock to everyone, and said that they can't really fathom what the benefit is to lay people off when your company is posting record profits and your stock price is quite literally capping out with a looming acquisition. As for our final story, Blizzard have announced their plans to offer a selection of their games on Steam. The announcement says that Battle.net is the home of our PC players, and over the years, we have evolved our platform to support updated technologies, capabilities, and our community's expectations. But as we've evolved, the industry has evolved too. Gaming is no longer just for specific communities, as it was when Battle.net launched over 2 decades ago. Gaming is for everyone, and though we remain committed to continually investing in and supporting Battle.net, we want to break down the barriers to make it easier for players everywhere to find and enjoy our games. The first Blizzard game coming to Steam will of course be Overwatch 2, and it will be available on August the 10th, which is just in time for the Overwatch 2 Invasion event that introduces the long-awaited PvE story missions. Players on Steam will still have to connect Overwatch 2 to a Battle.net account, but they will also have access to all of Steam's amenities like their friends list and achievements. Though Blizzard indicated it will bring multiple games to Steam, Overwatch 2 is the only one they've announced so far, saying that they will share more games when the time is right. But that's all we have time for this week. If you have any thoughts on anything discussed this week, please leave it in the comment section below as always, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye.